All right, welcome everyone. It's another episode of D.S.U or Deconversion Stories Update. We just call it D.S.U because it's very like Law and Order title, so hence the new little opening that you saw. We're welcoming back. Well, not we, because Mikey is not with us tonight. He is, doing some birthday stuff with the little one, Kira. So we'll forgive him this time, I suppose, because the little one's important. So. But tonight we're welcoming Mr. Jim Barrows back to the show. Jim was last on the show way back in 2020. It's already been 6 years, man. Like, can you believe that?
Yeah, that means I'd already been doing the AXP for a couple of years at that point. So
yeah.
One of these days I got to figure out when I actually started and how long it's actually been. But I won't do that until I feel like being old. So
you know what? Coming in October, I'm gonna really. I think it's gonna finally hit me that guess what? I actually am old because I hit the big 6-0.
Oh wow, yeah.
I know, and I'm like, what? Like inside of me is still 12, but
Yeah, I know exactly that feeling. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of climbing in and out of trucks, and my knees remind me I am not 20. So
yeah.
I feel like I am, but every once in a while the body's got to remind you.
All these new aches and pains that you get now. It's like fucking now I got arthritis in places I didn't even know you could get arthritis in. But anyway.
Yeah.
Now we just sound like whining old people. So Jim, tell us what you've been up to since being on the show.
Well, Atheist wise, I've been doing the show, doing a bunch of other shows.
Yeah, you've been doing stuff with me on Let's Talk. So
yeah. We're on Let's Talk and done some stuff with Matt Dillahunty on his show and some other stuff on the line. I was, regularly subbing in on the line for a while. And tried working on my own stuff, tried doing some stuff on TikTok. But it's a lot of work to do. And so, I want to get back to it.
Other ones. Sorry.
Yeah. When you've got a life and a girlfriend and it all starts to add up pretty quick when you got had a full-time job. So
yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Personally, got a girlfriend, was looking at doing some traveling and tried flying. I enjoyed flying, but I really enjoyed sailing. So I ended up on a sailboat living on that when I met Nancy, and we did some RVing stuff because she is an ICU nurse and can't really transfer her license as easily. Can't do remote work as easily. So we ended up in New Orleans for about 6 months. That was fun. Phenomenal food.
Hunter's got a message for you. TikTok will steal your soul.
Yeah,
that soul that you don't actually have, right? It'll steal.
Yeah, exactly. Bourbon Street is at the same time all it's cracked up to be and yet not. So it looks better on camera than it does in person. That is for sure. And ran into a group of street preachers. So it was a group. It was one guy street preaching and a whole bunch of people standing around their audio setup. And this is just the stupidest thing in the world. I didn't stop and talk to them as much as I wanted to for the very simple reason that despite the fact they were fully amplified, big, huge concert level speakers, you could barely hear them.
Really?
Yeah, and you could barely hear them because they put themselves in the middle of about 10 bars, all playing music, all different styles of music. So there's like a heavy metal bar and jazz and rock and country, all with outdoor seating, all playing at full volume. So it was just a cacophony of noise. So they couldn't be heard. And I was just
love that word. Cacophony.
Yeah. It's exactly what it was, but it's descriptive. You could get a word in Nancy could yell in my ear and I could barely hear her. And I could barely yell in her ear and she could barely, at full volume. And I'm not a soft spoken person.
Nope.
And so we were having trouble making ourselves heard. Trying to hold a conversation with a street preacher would have been almost impossible. But yeah, and it was just like, why are you in the stupidest place possible? No one can hear what you're
Look
saying,
who you're
and no
talking
one
about, though, man.
cared. Yeah, because you're in the middle of Bourbon Street where everybody is too drunk to give a shit. So
Yeah.
But and the food was just phenomenal. We ate at Brennan's, which is a 3-star. Is 3-star the max? Anyway, they're a highly rated Michelin star restaurant, and the food was just amazing. But I mean, you could walk into any mom and pop shop, any hole in the wall restaurant, and get great food, unless you're going for Mexican. We didn't find a good Mexican place anywhere in New Orleans, which was disappointing. But
I'll be honest with you, though, Jim. If I'm going to New Orleans, I ain't looking for Mexican food. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're looking for
cuisine, the Acadian cuisine that comes with the territory, right?
But I tell you what, the Italian was on point, the French was on point. But yeah, I mean, every place served gumbo, and it was all wonderful.
Nice.
Every place, you could get all the Cajun classics and stuff there as well. We were at Cafe du Monde. I was there a lot. In fact, that was my favorite place to get a cup of coffee. Not only is the coffee really, really good, and not the donuts, I'll think of the name of them in a second.
Other pastry type thing?
It was, yeah, it's like a donut, only different, and I'll think of what it is, or somebody in chat will probably come up with it here shortly. But anyway, you could just sit out, and I'd get there early on a Sunday morning, and just kind of Bourbon Street would wake up. The drunks would kind of, wake up as well.
Is that it?
And beignets. Yes, thank you, Ansher. Beignets. The beignets
seems to know everything.
If you have time to Google, it's easy, and if you pay attention, it's also easy. But I'm also, I'm old, as we discussed earlier. The brain doesn't work as well, and it was really just kind of a really, really cool little place.
Nice.
The open market there is. Yeah. Well, Cafe du Monde is really, really famous. I mean, they have been there since the mid 1800s. There's like there's 3 in New Orleans now. One is the original. And it's been there and if you don't get there at like 7, by 8, the line to get coffee is huge. And the space itself probably holds 200 people. And then you've got a quarter-mile long line to get coffee. It's just that good. And the beignets are phenomenal. And you just sit there and you sit on the veranda there, or the whatever you want to call it, and drink your coffee, eat your beignets, and watch this kind of amazing little place wake up. Because on a Sunday morning, it's only locals. It's not a lot of tourists because they're recovering.
From the previous night's engagements.
Yeah, exactly. So that was fun while we were there. Did a lot of the tours, did a lot of, went out to see the swamp sometimes. And then the most fun I had, though, was I got a picture of me. It looks like I'm out in the middle of the ocean, but I just took a highway out and from island to island, and I'm just out in the middle. And that was kind of cool. Seafood was phenomenal because it was just right out there,
Nice.
all that. And then after that, we ended up in a place called Dothan, Alabama, which is in the southeast corner of Alabama, because that's where she had her next contract. And that's where I am now. We decided to buy a house and kind of stay. And then remote work, as software engineers, just dried up. AI, and I don't really know what else is going on. I mean, the economy, sure, but yeah. So now I'm going to do the truck driving thing for a while and see if I like that. One of the things that I did too before we did the RV, Nancy and I did the RV thing. I had bought the RV, and for work, I had to go to Las Vegas for a convention that my company
Good
was
old
part
Vegas.
of. Yeah. The convention was AWS reInvent. And of course, going to Vegas is always a hardship. But I took my 40-foot Class A RV motorhome from Lufkin, East Texas, to Phoenix, and then up to Vegas, and then back across. And I had the greatest time driving that thing and seeing everything. And I'm really looking forward to getting back out on the road and seeing more of the country. Maybe to get up into Canada, but I don't know if they're letting Americans up there or not.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why.
We'll try to keep you. We'll try to save you from yourselves up there, right? That's what
it is. Really. Oh yeah, you're not a nonprofit. I don't have to watch what I say.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that's always fun.
Quick question. I had Aunt Jer wanted to know about the coffee that they serve at that at the place you're talking about there. Do they have the coffee that has chicory in it?
Yes, that is the only stuff that Cafe de Monde sells.
There you go.
So it's a very, very strong coffee. And you either like it or you hate it. And then every shop along Bourbon Street there's got at least partially a tourist trap, and you can buy the coffee and you can buy the beignet mix. The beignet mix does not come out as good as the beignets they make, and I think it's a skill thing. When you make 10,000 of them in a day, or what, I don't know what the numbers are, I'm just making it up. When you make that many in a day, I think you get good at it and you get the dough mix and everything just right. And it's probably not exactly what they give you in the recipe, because that's just not the way flour works. So you got to know what the consistency is, and they're giving you a recipe, and that may not get the consistency perfect. Because flour is a natural product, right? It's not going to absorb the same amount of water every single time. And then
I think you just play with the recipe till you figure something out that's at least close to what you were served.
Yeah, I mean, though, don't get me wrong, the beignets are good, but they are they're kind of like a donut hole with powdered sugar, but they're very different in doughiness and texture than a donut. So, but yeah, if you ever have the chance, highly recommend doing that, and seeing New Orleans, because it's very different. It is so very different from any place else.
Yeah,
because it's got all the French influence, the Spanish influence, and then I wouldn't even call it American influence. I mean, it's a blend of all three of these things, and it's just a phenomenal place. But it's very, very old, and it looks like it. If you're on Bourbon Street, don't step in anything that looks like a puddle. It probably is not a puddle of water. Yeah, like I said, Bourbon Street is everything it's cracked up to be, and not at the same time.
Okay.
Because you get to get up close and personal and see the cracks in the walls, and you get to see how bad the sidewalks are, and you get to see all the stuff that does not really show up on a camera when you're looking at it from the TV. But it's still Bourbon Street. So, yeah, and then drove to, so now I want to do the trucking thing. I'm in school here in a couple of weeks. And already, people are looking for us. So we'll see how that goes off. Although that industry is also going interesting places as well, because of the tariffs. And also, one thing that the administration is doing right is getting rid of a lot of the non-domicile CDL licenses. And these are, they're not even, I don't even know if they're green card holders, but they probably are. Don't speak English, so they don't read the signs, and they probably paid for their license and didn't actually go to school. And they're driving 80,000 pounds. Yeah, Canada's also got a problem. There's an expose on YouTube talking about the bought license problem that Canada has as well. So it's in both of our countries. And on the English speaking thing,
unfortunate truth is what it is.
Yeah. Well, for a civilian license, for just I want to drive a car anywhere, I don't care if you speak English or not. I mean, there's a case to be made. If you can't read the road signs, you're probably screwed. You should at least be able to do that. But it's different, I think, for a commercial driver's license, because one, you have to let the highway patrol or DOT inspect your vehicle and give it a thorough going over. In order to do that, you and the inspecting officer need to be able to speak and have a conversation. And if you can't do that, then that's a problem. That's a safety issue for the officer. So the officer is not going to do the full inspection because it's not safe for him to do it, which means you now have an unsafe vehicle on.
Shit.
Yeah, you could have an unsafe vehicle on the road. And
Are they
honestly,
taking any
it's not.
steps to deal with this?
Pardon?
Are they taking any steps to deal with this?
Yeah, they're getting rid of. California just took a bunch of rejected a bunch of CDL licenses. They invalidated a bunch of like 100,000 CDL license, something like that, some god awful number, because they issued them in a way that was not now correct, and so the government was forcing them. There's a law coming down that is going to get even harder, where it's not only non-domicile CDL holders, it's also going after foreign dispatchers. So if you're being dispatched out of Mexico, that's going to stop. And that is also has some issues in and of itself with enforceability. So the DOT has to be able to show up and examine all your paperwork. Well, if you're in another country, you can't really do that.
Yeah,
and this is the paperwork that shows that you are maintaining your trucks. Right? That your drivers are in fact obeying the law and getting, driving only 11 hours a day, no more than 14 hours on shift, 10 hours off, and then every 7 days, it's a 34-hour reset. So you don't do anything at that end of the 7 days for 34 hours to reset all your clocks.
Don't you as drivers, do you not carry the paperwork for anything that has been done with the truck? Because I think they do that here in Canada.
So you can carry the paperwork, or it can be on your log.
Yeah.
But or your electronic log. So yes, but they also need to inspect at the. So like the drivers aren't responsible for the yearly inspection. The drivers aren't responsible for a lot of the maintenance. So a lot of that stuff is, let's go to the dispatch, let's go to the motor carrier, and that's where all that paperwork should be for keeping everything correct. All the maintenance records for the truck are there. Everything is there, and it's all got to be paper because the electronic trail can and sometimes is faked. So there's a lot of that coming down. It's something the administration is actually doing that is actually kind of halfway decent in terms of bringing things back to the United States, because I mean it really is an enforcement issue. Is how do you enforce the laws if the people who you're trying to enforce the laws on aren't within the boundaries of your country? Your law enforcement has no right to go to another country and enforce our laws.
No,
and
not really a thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much to maintain your truck. I was watching a video. This is a guy, a box truck guy, and his YouTube videos are basically showing how to make money using a box truck, where you don't need your CDL. So the rules are basically you're just regular civilians. So you want to put 20 hours on the road, you can do that. But he sells a course, and he got inspected by the DOT because he is still commercial, so he still has to do that. And he failed miserably. And I was like, you don't even know how to properly do a pre-trip inspection. His brakes, according to the mechanic, so the DOT officer took him out of service and says, you can't move this until a mechanic gets out here and fixes your freaking brakes.
Oh, boy.
And the mechanic said, basically what was happening was the wheel was slowly but surely welding itself off of the frame. Is my understanding. The wheel was about to fall off. And the guy didn't know that because he didn't know that he had to check the axle grease. There's a place to check that, and you should check that periodically to make sure that you have enough.
This guy.
Yeah. The brakes. because the seal had broken and let all the axle grease out. All that axle grease ended up on the brakes. Those are important. You might want to stop on occasion. And then the DOT officer just nickel and dimed him to death, because once they found a couple of things, they're like, okay, here we go. This guy's an idiot. We're going to crawl over this thing with a fine tooth comb. And they did. And they found a lot more wrong, but just one of those things of, your fire extinguisher is supposed to be mounted and secured. It can't be rolling around in the cab. Well, his fire extinguisher was rolling around in a cab. What? And you say, why? Why does it have to be mounted and secured?
It can go
so
off.
You know where to get it when you need it.
And that too, yes.
It helps to have it, without a doubt. But if you can't get to it in a timely fashion, you're risking more than just your truck in many cases, right? And sometimes the cargo doesn't have to be hazmat to be a problem,
right?
So yeah, there's lots of stuff like that is going on, and so they're going to start cleaning that up, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, truckers will start making a lot more money, and the fuel price is killing them right now too.
Yeah, it's an issue here too. Our diesel has gone up in ridiculous amount.
Yeah. And I see people complaining about that. It's gone up 3 times what it's going up in some places, in some places and probably some stations, it's going up 3 times faster than the barrel of oil is. And they're all complaining that should be illegal. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Those when you walk into a Chevron or any gas station, those are privately owned, right? They're franchises, basically. So you're a franchise owner who's, let's say you're just to keep the numbers easy, it costs you $1 a gallon to buy it, and your expenses and a little bit of profit for you is another $1. So you're selling it for $2 a gallon. Now, all of a sudden, you're looking at this situation in the Mideast going, well, my gas prices are going to double tomorrow. I need to pay for that today because I need to start putting that money away so I can actually pay for the increase. So I have to increase my price so that I can buy the gas that I need to sell tomorrow, or next week, or however you want to do it. We're kind of keeping the timelines and everything short to make it easy to understand. So yeah, you're going to see a lot of people gouging, and some of them are gouging to be gouging. Not going to deny that. Some of them are gouging because they're worried about being able to keep their business open.
Sure.
As these prices skyrocket and nobody knows where the end is going to be, because some group of idiots didn't remember Operation Praying Mantis back in the 80s, when Iran...
I can barely remember what he did last week, let alone then, so come on.
Yeah, I think last week's being generous. Because he clearly doesn't remember what he said 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
Right? I mean, he has said in one day that the war in Iran is over. We don't need help. We need help. I mean, he's all over the place, and sometimes in a single interview, right? So yeah, and Iran did this back in the 80s, and almost sunk a cruiser. The Cole, I think, is the cruiser. And the Fat Electrician has a really, really funny story about how we basically at that point wiped out the Iranian Navy kind of by accident, sort of kind of on purpose accident. The Cole got hit by a mine. We figured out it was in fact an Iranian mine. And then Ronald Reagan said, hey, we need to do something that is proportional.
Yeah.
And so there was 2 oil rigs that the Iranians were using as listening posts, and we're going to sink those. That'll be proportionate. That will teach them a lesson to not do that to us again. And to make a long story short, their Navy got wiped out because the fog of war, and soldiers. Well, these were naval air people. So, airborne squids being airborne squids, and I think it's just military being military. They were told that they couldn't shoot unless they were shot at. So, when you buzz the enemy ship at 3 feet off the ground, or 3 feet off the water, they're going to shoot at you.
Yeah.
So, of course, that allowed them to go weapons free. And yeah, the Iranians had 2 very modern cruisers they're very proud of that we put on the bottom out of all that. But so, just a little bit of history. And you should know that Iran does this when somebody attacks them, they put mines in the Straits of Hormuz. This is just what they do.
Yes.
Oh, no, they won't do that, said the guy who never went into the military because he had bone spurs. Yeah. And apparently doesn't have them anymore. So, yeah.
Like, dude's an embarrassment, man. He's a fucking, especially after that comment that he said to the Japanese fucking prime minister or president.
Oh, yeah. They're not happy. It'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. Pardon?
I wouldn't be happy either after a comment like that. That was not fucking called for or acceptable.
Yeah. And I think in Trump's defense, I don't think he remembers that Japan attacked us. I don't think he knows that.
I think that's what he was referring to, the surprise attack at Pearl Harbor. Right? So.
That's what we think he was referring to, but his mind is so much, I don't know if he thinks that's what he was referring to or not. Well, and that's worse. He doesn't know what he's saying. And tons of mines. Okay, coal was sunk by suicide bombers, not a mine. Okay, I forget what was almost sunk by a mine. I guess it wasn't the coal. I'm misremembering a different incident. But anyway. So yeah, looking forward to doing that and getting out to see more of the country. I want to do a lot more in the West, drive more in the West. I haven't been in the East too much. So that'll be interesting. Although, from what I understand, driving up in the East Coast is a pain in the neck. Just small roads and not a lot of freeways. So
yeah,
putting an 18-wheeler in places is going to be fun. But I'm also enjoying the training and enjoying trying to get that thing to do what I want it to do, which is more along the lines of doing what it needs to do and giving it plenty of room to do it. Because it's bigger than I think it is in a lot of cases. I'm not patient enough. I'm like, oh, that should be far enough, and I've only moved 4 feet. It's like, no, I'm moving a 53-foot trailer.
It has an even fucking animal.
Yeah. So. But
that's why I give wide berths to trucks. When I'm on the road, I always give wide berths to trucks because they're huge and you're going to lose that battle. So
yeah, that's the other thing too, is I see people brake check, watching YouTube. I watch a lot of the brake check of trucks and truck videos. Mostly I'm trying to spot the problem. I'm trying to train my brain to spot problems and to go, oh, what should I have done in that situation?
Sure.
As part of what I'm training. And I'm amazed at how many people think brake checking a semi is a good idea.
They're going to learn very quickly that it's not.
I don't think they do, because the truckers are good enough.
They want their trunk in the engine department. I'm not sure.
Yeah, most of the time these truckers aren't hitting them. They're maintaining enough distance in many cases, but sometimes they do, and they'll knock them 60, 80, 100 feet and forward. Mm-hmm. And that's what the brake's on. The car's trying to stop itself, and it's just not going to do that. You just get, force field of mass times acceleration. You just got hit by up to 80,000 pounds and a big steel bumper. It's going to move you. So the other thing that I'm amazed at is the lack of courtesy. People will be merging. And if you're merging into the lane, you do not have right of way. But if you're the truck, why in the world aren't you just backing off, letting that guy in? Because best case scenario, their insurance is paying for it. So there's nothing out of your pocket except you got to take the truck over someplace and get it repaired. And if your wheels aren't turning, you're not earning.
That's right.
So you're stuck someplace waiting for somebody to fix your truck. that's not a good place to be. So just let them in. Yeah, they don't have the right of way. You do. Yeah, they're going to get a ticket, not you. But you're still spending time off duty. Why would you? But yeah, and it's basically having people think they can squeeze past a truck. So
I'm not one of them. I'll always let if I'm coming onto a highway and I see a truck up there beside me, I'm like, "You go ahead of me, pal."
yeah,
I can
I
always
didn't
wait for my
realize how big
opportunity
the
to go
blind
around
spot.
you.
Yeah, and the blind spots are bigger than you think they are.
Yeah.
Even with the hood mirrors, there are still big, huge blind spots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as a driver, you have to check them all constantly. It's not like, a four-wheeler where you can check them every, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. You're constantly looking because it's constantly changing. So yeah, the cameras are helping. I think a lot of the cameras that I'm seeing are covering those blind spots, because the other thing you have to remember too is that if any of those mirrors are convex, your ability to determine what distance is goes down dramatically because it's warped.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And the cameras are
I
doing
get
away
the
with
idea,
that.
but
Yeah.
give you
Yeah.
more of a
I've run
view
over
of
many
the
a
area.
cones.
It's
Yeah.
not your distance is warped completely.
Yeah. I have not gotten close enough to cones because of that, and I've hit cones because I was looking at the convex mirror, not the big mirror. Well, just backing up, so it is interesting to look at all that kind of stuff and kind of go, oh wow, I was not as nice to those drivers as I should have been. Now that I have been in the truck. So if you ever have the opportunity to get in, climb into the driver's seat, and then just have somebody walk around and see what you can see, that will be eye-opening for you. That'll make you a better driver around big trucks.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if it's a day cab or a sleeper cab. But yeah, do that if you have the opportunity. Because it's mind-boggling. But anyway, so that's kind of what I've been up to. I'm probably going to I've noticed that there are some Christian truck channels out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I figure,
really?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I would never even thought to look for something like that, but
It came up because I was looking at truck videos. So, it's gonna
fair
pop
enough.
up.
But what
Um,
what makes them different from just a regular, like, you'd think that none of that even would play into just a job like driving a truck.
they preach at some point.
Oh, really? 'Cause that'll make you a better
Yeah.
truck driver.
Well, a lot of these are just, this is my day. So they're more vlogs in
Okay.
nature than they are anything. Some of the truckers that I follow are vlogs. So they're showing you their day to day.
Okay.
So that's when they'll get a little preaching in on occasion. The Bible verses pop up and the whole 9 yards. So I'm just going to start thinking about doing the same thing, little things like asking, hey, where, if you think that men and women should be equal and you don't think that equality means separate but equal, then could someone tell me where the test for male virginity is in the Bible?
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of places for women, but I can't find
Yeah.
a single one for men. Someone tell me where that is.
It's fucking ridiculous is what it is.
Yeah.
Fuck it, you could leave it to religion to come up with something that just completely entrenches a patriarchal system for stupid fucking purity bullshit like that.
Yeah. And then do Christians really think that it's moral and okay to convict somebody of a crime for something that only happens to 50% of people? So a woman can be convicted of not being a virgin because she didn't bleed the first time she had sex, and that only happens to about 50% of women. So where do you get that? I mean,
Right.
yeah, if they can do it, I can do it, and we'll have more fun. So we'll see how that goes.
Can't wait to read some of the
And
comments on those.
yeah, I know. Well, I've been paying a lot of attention to Deconstruction Zone because he beats people. Yeah, Justin, he beats people over the head with the Bible, and I'm like, oh, this is really, really good stuff. So I've been stealing a lot of his and turning it into my own material, just so I'm not parroting him. But
Right, sure.
yeah, the more you know the Bible, the funnier it gets when people kind of go after you. And I've been hitting people more and more with the problem of evil. I think that is just the kill zone for anybody. I was what do
That's
they
a
call it?
good one.
Yeah, I was refereeing a debate with John Loftus, and I just think he screwed the pooch on the whole debate.
Really?
Yeah, he did not do a good job. The other guy did a much better job because he kept Loftus on his back foot. So first, Loftus does the major suffering thing. He doesn't say evil exists. It's there's major suffering, and I'm like, no, don't soft pedal it. It's evil. Doesn't matter if it's suffering or not. But he went with major suffering, and then his interlocutor, Father James, kept hammering him on, well, what do you mean by major suffering? How do you know what major suffering is? And the answer to the question is, it's the same one as, well, now you're smuggling in objective evil or whatever, objective morals. I'm like, no, I'm not. It doesn't matter what the definition is, just matters that it exists. And for the problem of evil, if evil exists, it doesn't matter how you define evil, only that it exists. So evil can be defined subjectively, objectively. You can look at it out of the Bible or the Quran or any other religion that claims to have a triomni God and go, it doesn't matter. Whatever they define as evil, does it exist? Yes, well, then your God can't exist. Mm-hmm. And people are getting kind of pissed off at that because it's like I take away take all their toys away. And unless you can go after the premises, then the conclusion has to be true. And now all of a sudden it doesn't matter if they're doing what other argument they want to try, because no other argument addresses this if they believe in the triomni God. Mm-hmm. So that has been my big thing. Atheists for a long time says, well, we can't prove there isn't a God. Proving a negative is awfully hard. Can you prove yours? Trying to push that back on the claimant. And that's a valid tactic, but yes, we can prove that your God doesn't exist. Here's the problem of evil. It predates Christianity. Mm-hmm. Epicurus, it predates that. And it's something that the first century Jews would have known, and therefore first century Christians would have known, which is why you don't see the triomni God come up until much, much later.
Yes, so right.
I'm just looking, you know what? I don't have to look all the way over there, do I? There we go. That's easier to see the comments there. Streamlabs. So yeah. Somebody mentioned EV dock trucks. Yes, EV vehicles are dangerously quiet. So are hybrids when they're in E mode or simply secular. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
And then, if you don't want to believe in that, and they want to go after the supernatural, I simply point out that, last 2,000 years, there's been, 2,000 years ago, we had a whole number of phenomena that we claimed were supernatural in origin or caused by supernatural things. Spells,
turned out not to be.
Yeah. And here we are 2,000 years later, and none of those have survived. Right. The odds of the supernatural being the cause of any phenomenon is much, much less just based on the numbers than the most ridiculous natural claim. Right. You want to say aliens created humans? That is completely ridiculous. However, I think it's
at least plausible.
It's much more likely than God did it. Just because we don't have any, that's the evidence we have for the supernatural. You can't get to the supernatural from what we know about the universe.
Well, science is only designed to evaluate the natural world. It's not there to design supernatural, which technically means outside of nature.
Well, there's that, but the process can test anything. So if you want to say,
well, if we come up with a methodology to do so, yeah.
Yeah. If you want to say that abracadabra will cause a rabbit to be in my hat, right? That's a testable claim. we can
For sure.
test how that, you say abracadabra and no rabbit, that doesn't work, right?
Oh,
If you want to say, oh, it works 1 in 1,000 times,
hey,
we
Buck.
could do it 20,000 times or 100,000 times, whatever we need to, and go 100,000 times that failed. So even your 1 in 10,000 doesn't work. You can test this stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
So we can test any claim. So if you want to claim that the
Psychic
supernatural,
claims, astrology claims, we can test all that shit for sure. Yeah.
right? So if you want to say, for instance, test that prayer works when you pray for a medical outcome. Well, the Templeton Foundation, a Christian organization, did that study, and they found
They
that,
weren't the only ones either.
yeah, but they have done the largest,
Yes.
and they do the most backpedaling from it because it's completely damning to them. Not only does prayer not work, if you tell the person that you're praying for them, they end up slightly, but statistically significant, slightly worse. If you tell them you're praying for them.
Yeah, they
So
had
the
like
best thing
3
to
groups
do,
or something. A group
yeah,
that
they
knew
did
they're
3
being prayed
groups.
for, groups that said
One
they
group they
might
told that they
be,
weren't praying for him. One group
yeah.
they said they may or may not be praying for them.
Right.
And the third group they would be praying for them. That third group, now it was small, but statistically significant, higher bad outcomes for that group. So telling people you're praying for them is the worst thing you can do. Yeah.
At least in that scenario.
I think it was the STEP study. Templeton
Yeah, that sounds
Foundation
familiar.
study on prayer, largest one ever done. So
Yeah, I remember hearing about that like
yeah,
a long time back, but yeah,
it's been around for a while. The Templeton Foundation actually talks about it on their website, and they kind of gloss over the fact that it shoots the whole thing in the foot. And they go with the prayer really isn't for anybody else but you. It's about the changes it says in you, and blah 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 blah. Woo.
sure.
Um,
Yeah.
Prayer still works.
Sure it does, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
And then
more
you've got,
tests.
Johnny Carson, who he was on for 40 years. And how many people did he debunk on his show? The James Randi Foundation $1 million prize for 20 years. Nobody ever claimed it.
Nope. And many tried too, I heard. Like quite a few people tried.
Yeah. People tried. But then you had Penn and Teller's Fool Us. If you could really do something supernatural, that would be the place to do it. Right? And nobody supernatural ever tried with those guys.
Not to be confused with their other show, Penn and Teller Bullshit. Just FYI.
Right.
Where they go
the
around
unfortunately named
debunking
Bullshit.
shit.
Yes.
Yeah, well, whatever. It's still a good name in my book.
Yeah, you just can't put it on primetime TV.
No. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. And to be fair, that show was, let's take an outrageous claim and make fun of it. Let's not actually investigate the actual things. Let's just find the outliers and make fun of it and go from there. But there was a lot of stuff to make fun of.
Good.
Pardon?
The astrology one was pretty good. They had people going to
yes.
They say, okay, we're not talking about the things that they print in the newspaper for you. We're going to send you to an actual reader and see what they say about you. And the reports from the few different folks that they had go out there came back saying, like, this guy was going on and on and on about this. That now, while they were there taking the test, or not taking the test, but talking to the astrologers, as they call themselves, I guess, they were like, oh, going on. And then they would bring the results back and say, okay, well, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is way too vague. Like that fortune cookie I love that says, continue to interpret vague things as meaningfully and personal or whatever. Right. So that's basically all that stuff relies on, is that kind of thought pattern.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing with feng shui.
Yeah.
So they hired 3 feng shui masters to come in and feng shui a room. And the first one did the original feng shuiing, and then the second and third one were feng shuiing a feng shui room. and hilarity ensues.
What about
None of
Reiki?
them
I think they did
agree
one on
on
Reiki too, did they not?
they probably did. So
Feng Shui, a previously
Yeah.
feng shuied room. That's
Yeah,
so funny.
and of course they said it was completely wrong, and it would have all these bad negative effects, and
Of course.
completely ridiculous stuff. So, uh,
As you were saying earlier in the show
yeah,
that you've been doing a lot of other shows. Like I know our experiences together doing the Let's Talk and
mhm.
whatnot, but and I've done a couple now with Matt. He's actually been graceful enough to have me on twice, which is
Oh, good,
blows my
good.
mind to begin with. So if he wants to have me back, Matt, if you ever see this, I'm always willing to come back on and promise to be a little bit more aggressive because they keep calling me the Canadian Matt Dillahunty for some reason. But anyway. Sometimes
Sometimes you got to contact Matt because he's got so much stuff going on that he loses track.
yeah,
So,
I know. But anyway, so do you want to share a couple of experiences working on those other ones? Like
you know, they're the
anything
same
stand
calls
out?
to me. Yeah, not
Fair
really,
enough.
because it's all the same stuff, and I don't pay attention to names. Like I'll be on a show and someone will go, "Oh, this person's always on, and they always have this argument, and always goes this way," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't care." Um, it's the same thing on Facebook, and that catches me out on Facebook a couple of times where I don't read the whole thing or read it close
Dr.
enough.
Ben.
Hey, it's Dr. Ben.
One of my favorite dudes.
Yeah,
Dr. Ben.
yeah. Dr. Ben is an awesome, awesome dude.
Yes.
And yeah, it looks like he's getting doing some intern stuff that he's gonna. I don't know what they call it.
Canilla
Can,
Hunty.
can, Canilla Hunty. Canilla Hunty.
Canilla Hunty.
So yeah, no.
Stop it, you guys. I don't want to get yelled at by Matt.
And of course, doing the shows is often you get accused of, well, you just have things memorized. And it's like, you do this long enough, you answer enough questions, and get on these call-in shows. It's the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even, and some of it is actually better than what you'd get going to a professional apologist. Not a lot of it, some of it is, and all of it is as good as what you'd get from a professional apologist. None of them do any better, and some of them have PhDs in philosophy.
Yeah.
Like Low Bar Bill.
Low bar bill, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like giving people nicknames, except he earned that one. Just by stupidly saying that we should lower the bar, the epistemic bar for God.
Yeah.
Lower the standards.
You have to.
And yeah, he doesn't say lower the standards for anything else. So it's special pleading for his God on top of pleading that you lower the standard on top of his stupid little cosmological argument, the Kalam. The Kalam is just it's almost as no, it is as dumb, especially with what we know today.
It's
Hitting people.
I never
so I
liked
guess I
it
did have
anyway.
one. That was funny. Because I had Justin Deconstruction Zone on in stitches the entire time. Somebody called in with the argument on not determinism. What is it? Not dependency and independency. It's I'm having another stupid moment.
Another old person.
Yeah. It's an argument
Hi,
for
Robin.
God. I'm actually typing this in.
It's not solipsism. No, not solipsism. Right?
So something can't be independent. You have to have one thing that's not independent. Contingency argument for God. Thank you,
Oh, right.
Google.
Yes.
Right. So contingent and non-contingent. And I said, I just answered the simple, I am God. Prove me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next 20 minutes, I threw every single stupid thing you've ever heard. Oh, I just did prove it. I work in mysterious ways. Sometimes the answer is no. And you could hear it in his voice. He's just getting more and more and more frustrated
Now you
with
know how
all
we
these
feel.
answers. Yeah. And I said, you know why I'm doing this? And he goes, I think something like I think so. I says, yeah. So this is
dumb.
this is reducing your argument to the ridiculous. If you can't prove I am not God, how can you prove, or I am not the non-contingent being? How do you prove there is a contingent, not a non-contingent being?
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And I says, and let me kick you while you're down. If there is such a thing as a non-contingent thing, how do you know it's a being and not something like energy, which can neither be created nor destroyed?
Right.
He had no answer for that. He says, well, it depends on math. I said, no, math is descriptive, not prescriptive.
That's right.
Everything in the universe depends on energy. We know it can be created or destroyed. So now you have to prove that your non-contingent thing isn't energy.
That's right.
They call it in shortly after that. It's somewhere on Deconstruction Zone that he and I are on. So
the reason why Jim is doing this, shits and giggles.
Pretty much at this point, yes. You know, you don't do this to convince the caller, right? You do this to help convince everybody who's listening, because the caller's got his defenses up.
Yeah.
So
and they usually double down if they're approached aggressively enough, and you hope, though, in the back of your mind that maybe something you said sticks in theirs, and then they start to, they call's over, they're at home, and now they're thinking about this, and that might lead to some more investigative type of things. So they may end up starting to question like they should.
One hopes.
Yes.
Yeah, one hopes. And it's happened before, right?
Certainly.
Dan is a great example.
I was just going to say
on the Atheist experience, of exactly that happening. And if there's one, there's probably dozens more. So that's probably,
I've had a few on the show that have said exactly that they listen to these arguments, and then all of a sudden they start thinking, and they're like, you know what? These are good points. I should think about this. Even if they're in the middle of an argument with someone, and that good point sticks in there, and then that can lead to, critical thought.
One hopes.
Yeah.
Because they are thinking about it one way or the other. If you're trying to study these arguments for God, then you are thinking about it. And so having them soundly defeated every single time you bring one up, eventually you got to realize that there aren't any good arguments for God. And I think the problem of evil eliminates all arguments for God right off the top. And it's not a hard one to remember or a hard one to defend. If you really want to do that, I think it's pretty easy.
I heard a funny little argument recently. You know, how can God build a rock so heavy even he can't lift it? Because God's all powerful, allegedly. And I saw one the other day where the guy's like, well, can God create an even more powerful God? Right?
Right. Well, so Christians will often say God is omnipotent, but he can't do anything that is not logically possible. So that would mean make a square circle, a married bachelor, those kinds of things.
Right.
Okay. Cool, guy. Do you think that God the Father, the Holy Spirit, and the Son are the same being? Yes. Oh, that violates the law of identity and non-contradiction.
Yeah.
So why are you excluding logical possibilities from your definition of omnipotence, dude? Yeah. Crickets. That's one thing I don't like about arguing on Facebook. Sometimes it's crickets because they have no answer. Sometimes crickets is because they got bored and they're not paying attention to the conversation anymore, which is a valid. I do the same thing, so I think it's valid, but it is annoying. So I would like to know why you're not, because you don't really have an answer. Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I keep bringing up, because the first time I ever heard anyone say it, I thought to myself, yeah, you know what? That's a pretty fucking heavy duty question. if you were even able to convince me that there was a deity of some kind, why doesn't this allegedly all-knowing, all-powerful entity intervene when children are being molested by the very people that claim to speak for them?
Yeah.
Like, why? And you can't come back with free will because that's bullshit, because the God's plan thing negates free will.
Well, it's not just a God's plan thing. It's his omnipotence. God would be the perfect jailer, right?
Yeah.
Because he knows when you're going to commit a crime. And he knows this because if we can read a human mind for just simple thoughts up to 3 seconds before that thought reaches consciousness, God can certainly do a better job than we can because he's omnipotent. So, and he's omniscient, so he knows it, and he's omnipresent, so he's everywhere. So he can literally stop every crime, put the person in jail for the
Or
crime.
just keep them from being born. Like,
you could do that, but I mean, yeah. Or if you think putting somebody in jail is violating their free will, then he could simply say, "Hey, victim, I want to teleport you someplace safer." Boom. Free will, not a problem.
Teleport the kid into the arms of its mother. That's that simple.
Right. Yeah, someplace safe. That's all I got to do.
Yep.
And he doesn't
But he
do it.
never does. Never.
Right.
Never heard of an incident of that.
So he can't be all three of those. He can't be all three of those. He could be up to any two. But then you start getting into these supernatural claims, and as I've already discussed, the most ridiculous natural cause for a phenomenon is more likely than the supernatural. So,
yeah. Well, all I know is even if that entity or that deity existed, they still wouldn't be worth worshiping in my mind. Sure,
yeah.
now I believe he's real, but I want nothing to fucking do with him. So,
Yeah, that would be what would you, if God was real, what would you say to him? Hi, I want to charge, I would like to see you charged for crimes against humanity.
yeah, like what? Why do you have to be such a fucking douche canoe? Like, don't be a fucking dick. Like, seriously.
Yeah. Ordering genocide's not cool, dude. You're all powerful. You had choices.
Where you're allowing your children to say that Trump was appointed by you. Like, what the fuck? Look what that clown's doing.
Oh, yeah. I don't get why people don't see he's using the Christian right. Just using them. It makes no sense.
That's a whole ball of wax that I really don't want to get into at the moment because it has to do with all kinds of neuroscience and shit. So,
yeah, but
I know.
I've also taken to people who are praising Trump. I'm like, careful, your Christianity is showing your propensity for violence, harming the poor and downtrodden, and being a bigot, just like Jesus taught you. And nobody ever responds to that, but I would like them to.
Well, when your amygdala is bigger than your prefrontal cortex, there's a problem, right?
Oh. Yeah, mirror neurons exist. Some of them, most people, they're just smaller than others and larger than some.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, and I was just saying, speaking of Trump stupidity, China's having one of their best years ever.
Yeah.
Canada's doing pretty good.
Hey, man, we're reaching out to everybody else, and we're making some new connections and making some new trade agreements, and the whole world's just leaving you guys out of shit now, you know? Well, they're even offering us to be in the European Union, for fuck's sakes.
That would not suck for you. That would not suck. Because then you don't have to, I mean, you go travel in Europe without having to worry about the 30 days at a time thing, and 30 days in the last 90 or whatever it is, the Schengen zones.
Yep.
But I thought your PM standing, after GM was it GM that pulled all their toys and went home and just left a shell of a building and fired thousands of workers?
It was GM.
Yeah. But your PM standing in there going, "Oh, hey, we are now going to spend Canadian tax dollars to encourage people to invest in this space and start making cars again as quickly as possible," was just the greatest middle finger to the United States ever, because that's basically all they've been doing.
Oh, not so much
You guys have been shackled to our economy for way too long. It's good to see you guys getting out and really strutting your stuff and not selling us water when we need it. Um, that's also, I think, a good thing. It's your water. Do whatever the hell you want with it. Just don't sell it to us.
I get it. I get it.
Well, yeah, the Midwest is burning right now, but that's not your fault. California is going to burn this summer. That's not your fault. No. Arizona is going to burn. Texas is in a drought.
We're still going to be down there helping. You know that. We're still going to be down there helping.
Yeah, help Mexico. They need it. They deserve it.
Well, the thing is, it's not the people that we don't like. Well, some of the people we do definitely don't like, but it's the people running the show that we don't care for.
But the people voted for him.
Yeah, a minority.
The people voted for him. So yes, it is the people.
Some of them, not all of them. And there's good people everywhere that we still want to help if we can. That's just a Canadian.
Well, yeah, there's a few, but yeah
we got our
tons
own
of money. I don't know how much money it would take to tow Canada over by Europe, though. However, I do think you've been watching too many Bugs Bunny cartoons where he saw, I think it's Florida off of.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so funny.
Yeah.
Well, we've gone the hour, Jim, but we'll get together with some other folks and do an after party after this.
Okay.
I think in closing, is there anything coming up that you want people to go and check out?
I'm sure there is. Let me see what it is. I checked today. Sometimes
talk again for a little bit, but I know that we have at least one plan coming up.
Yeah, I was supposed to do a show on Tuesday with Helen Green on the 17th, and I completely blew that, and that was unfortunate. I really did want to talk with her. Looks like nothing this month. I am actually not on AXP until April because of scheduling conflicts. So I would actually have to look and see when I'm on next on
next Sunday you're on. Let's talk though. Next Sunday.
Yes. Okay, good. Somebody check my calendar.
I pulled up the calendar. I've got it here. So
yeah, actually, let me make sure I have it on my calendar because I don't think I saw it. So that would be Sunday the 29th?
Correct, yes.
Palm Sunday. Ooh, Palm Sunday. Yes, I have that on my, yes. That's at 7 though, right? Not 3?
7 Central, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, 7 Central. I love Central, so there we go. All right. It's actually at the right time too now.
I'm on tomorrow on Let's Talk. I'm on tomorrow on Let's Talk. Supposed to be with Mikey, but I don't know if he's going to be around to do it. So,
yeah, that'll be fun. Do you know what the topic is?
Not yet. I don't know.
Okay. And then I did a over on the new channel, the debate channel, which is I forget what the debate channel is for Skeptic Haven now.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's still fairly new, and they do it on Thursdays, right? So.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and do more debates. I'm hoping they'll bring me up. I would like to do debate again, an actual formal debate, because I haven't done one of those in a while, not since Dean Meadows. So.
It's not. Is it Critical Call? Is that the one? No.
Critical.
That's a different one, I think. Skip the Haven channel. Let's see.
Why am I not seeing it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it looks like I'm going to have to respond to somebody else. Cool. I have response videos. Somebody who's apparently Morality Comes from Revolution, Jim Barrows Confusion Debunked, Atheist View Shattered. Oh, yeah, we'll have to do that one and laugh at him. It was a good thing I Googled myself over, or Yeah, I Googled myself over on YouTube. So I'm trying to find what it was.
I've never tried that. I'm gonna have to do that.
You should. You might find some people you need to respond to, like I just did. So
yeah,
I'll spend some time doing that.
All right.
Get
We can talk more about this in a little bit. We'll get into the after party. Thanks, Jim, for jumping in here with just me today. But just so you guys know, if you weren't here at the beginning, Mikey is doing the birthday thing with his little one. So
cool.
That's what happened to Mikey. But he'll be back hopefully tomorrow and do the show with me. But yeah. Thanks everyone in the chat for hanging out. As you saw in the new opening for this one, that we thank our members for being members of the channel. Thank you so much for everything you do. Puck, I see you there in the chat. You got to get in touch with me because we should get you on for an episode of D.S.U. because you haven't been on in quite some time either. And it might be shocking to me how long that's been, because when I checked to see the last time Jim was on, it was in 2020. So that was like a long time ago. So anyway, guys, if you want to come on for an episode of D.S.U, if you've already been on the show and you haven't been on in at least a couple of years, then just hit me up and we'll set it up and get you back on for a D.S.U episode. And if any you'd like to be involved in the after party, Mikey's not here today, so you'll have to send me a message somewhere for a link, and I'll get you a link, and you can jump in with me and Jim for a little while. All right, and I don't really have a catchphrase for these ones, but thanks for showing up. You've been updated, and we'll see you guys next time. No, we'll just stick with that one. That sounds good to me. See you guys next time. And don't forget to send me a message if you want to be involved in the after party. Ciao.